Disclaimer, this is a super disgusting story, so if you've eaten dinner or whatever, you may want to just go out for a while. If nothing else, you'll probably say, I can't believe he seriously told this story, but hopefully. In my neighborhood in Philly, if your family was a little more well off, you went to one of the Jewish overnight camps, Arthur or Rita, up in the Poconos. If your family was distressed and dysfunctional like mine was, you went to a camp called College Settlement, which, was diverse. Kids from all over the city that were maybe a little more financially challenged went. And this was about my second year that my brother and I went there. I was 10, he was 8. The camp session started off poorly because my dad, and it was very much like him, didn't show up the day he was supposed to take us. And I remember we were waiting on the stoop for him all day, and didn't come until the next day. And so we were already running late. We get to the camp, suburban Philly, and the boys stayed in a sort of a bunkhouse and a barracks kind of place, pull my trunk in, and there's one bunk left, and there's already this kid sitting on the top bunk, and he's talking to this one counselor, Tom. Peter was his name. And he scowled at me, and he's like, you have the lower bunk. And then him and Tom started speaking in German. Now, I'm not sure. I don't know German really very well, but I thought I heard something. He was sneering at me and said something Juden or something like that felt very like, he didn't like Jewish people, and he was just being very racist. But right off the bat, we didn't like each other, and he really had it in for me. A couple days later, we go on a hike, and all the boys in the bunk are hiking, and a stick comes flying through the air, and I saw Peter had thrown it, hit my brother in the head, my younger brother. So I yell at the counselor, look, Peter did that. And I chase after him. We get in this, fight, but the counselor breaks it up. Peter's laughing at me the whole time. He was taller and, lanky, and I couldn't quite strangle him enough, so the counselor broke it up. And so things were just, the tempo was set, for the rest of the week in camp. Now, the other thing that happened, and camp was, there was, nature classes and arts and crafts and swimming, there was a girl there named Irene. And as soon as I saw her, I fell deeply in love. My 10-year-old self was just smitten with Irene. And I was like, maybe I said a few words to her. I was just even afraid to talk to her. But I was definitely madly in love with Irene. So I had this Peter, this German guy or whatever his background was. And then I was in love with Irene. Now, we did our camp thing, and in the evening, we would go to the cafeteria for dinner. And they would always feed us these really starchy, heavy foods. And for some reason, they would not then there was free play. They would not let the boys go back to the boys' bunk to use the bathroom if you had to. You had to use the girls. The girls lived in this old, Victorian house. That's where they stayed. So I certainly didn't want Irene to even know I had bodily functions, much less go to, the house she was staying and use the bathroom, to relieve myself. So I did my best during free time, during playtime, to hold it in. Kind of worked a little bit. With the starchy food and everything, I just got to be honest, I wasn't doing a great job at it. I'd be walking around with my other, friend campers, and they'd like, what's that smell? And I'd point to some plants and say, remember the elephant plants? Remember these plants? Remember the nature, teacher told us that these smell really bad? That sort of kind of worked, and then my reputation, or odor kind of followed me after the next couple of days. Peter got wind of this, And one morning, we go to breakfast. Everybody goes to breakfast. And come back, and there at my bunk, my lower bunk, the mattress has been lifted off, and a fully formed turd is on the spring. So for those of you who have pooped the bed, that in itself is super hard. But to have a fully formed turd, and landing on the box spring underneath the mattress, something very fishy about that. That's just wrong. Tom, the German-speaking counselor, was on the next bunk. He had his acoustic guitar out. He was singing a song he had made out. Oh, the poor turd under the bed. No one knows if it's living or dead. They were having just a great time. Every kid in the bunk was standing around looking at me. I was just shamed and horrified. It was unbelievable. Now, my counselor was Haig. Haig was like an older guy. He was a high school teacher, probably just looking to make a little extra money in the summer. He, looked at me and he just shook his head. Seriously, Randy? Seriously? He helped me take my stuff out, outside, my bedding and everything, got some water and everything. He showed me how to wash everything, and he was very patient and kind about that. And the camp, session went on for about another week. There were probably, there were definitely some kumbaya moments and, some fun that was had despite whatever had gone on before. I don't know what happened to Peter. I'm assuming he became the head of some, right-wing organization, probably still successful. Never saw Irene again. And the next year when it came time to sign up for camp, my mom apologized. Either she didn't have the money or it was too late, but we weren't going to camp again. And seriously, that probably wasn't the worst thing. Thank you.